everyone, it's Chris with Expat Theory. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Appreciate you being here. I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an update. I know I said I was going to do at the end of the month kind of a financial comparison and how I'm doing here at GP Transco versus where I was at with CRST. And I got another paycheck that could come in that all it does is make me redo the math, but I can still formulate the trend in the pay and do a comparison. Came in a little lower than I wanted it to be honest with you. I'm not real super happy with it. Now, of course, it could be part of the problem is it's this time of year. This is one of the slow times from the beginning of the year through March. Actually, late October through March. You have a little bit of a slower time for the trucking industry as a whole. It's a little bit slower of a time for the shippers. So, and of course, we're looking at not the best economy in the world. Things are going a little nutsy on the economic end. This month marks 1 year that I've been investing in the stock market. And I absolutely knew nothing about stocks and how they work and what to do. But after my 1 year of being in the stock market, my decisions and my purchases, I made some mistakes, learning curve. I lost a few dollars here and there, making bad trades. And with that wrapped up into the actual 12 months of my performance, I actually still came out slightly a bit above the S&P 500. I guess what I'm trying to say there is, in layman's terms, is I did no worse than a paid for broker. Someone that you pay a lot of money to manage your funds in the stock market would have performed probably no different than I did. Average stockbroker fails to meet the S&P 500. I actually beat the S&P 500 by about 0.5%. As it stands right at this particular moment. And we're on a downturn. So if the market flips over, because we're on this massive downturn because of all the banks and all this nonsense going on with SVB and all of that, but once that crisis is over and the market starts recovering, I'll be doing a lot better. So not very I'm not unhappy, with the performance that I did over my first 12 months of learning what to do in investing. Now, I did not get into trading, like day trading. Buying and selling stocks all the time is not something I am knowledgeable about, and it's not something that I would try to tackle. Mine was just more of buy and hold. I made some choices to sell some stuff because I didn't like what was going on with that particular stock. And a good chunk of my loss was actually from the crypto market. I played with crypto for a little bit. That I think is a mistake. Just my opinion, because I can't give out any kind of financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But crypto is very volatile. It bounces way too much for my taste. One minute it'll be way up, next minute it's way down. And this past year has been a really bad year for crypto. It literally lost 90% of its value. Now, of course, it's on its way back up a little bit, but I made some decisions there and lost a few dollars. Put it that way. But overall, financially, big picture, starting from back in 2019, being broke as hell. Actually had some friends from online pull my fat out of the frying pan. They made me a little donation of some money that at a time that I was about to go under, that flipped everything around for me. And then, of course, I made the decision to move into trucking. So I went from being pretty far in the hole to having a couple bucks sitting out there and moving towards my retirement at a good pace. So I have no real complaints, big picture. Of course, when I try to manage and micromanage the day-to-day, how things are proceeding, I get a little frustrated sometimes. I get a little angry. I'll talk about quitting, one job to go into another job, go to another company, and do this, do that. And I always try to temper myself because I know a lot of that is my anxiety talking. So I try to kind of calm myself a little bit and give myself enough time to breathe and think things through and make decisions involving more of the big picture, because the day-to-day will drive you nuts if you focus on it too much. So, there may be times when you're out here, especially in the trucking game, there are times when you'll have a whole week or 2 weeks that just absolutely suck. And you have to be able to make it through that time to continue forward. And the way you do that is by looking at things big picture. A good example I can give you is back when I was with CRST, and I did those videos when I was in Chicago. I was literally off the road for 2 weeks, stuck in a hotel. And I took 2 all-day trips down into the city because I didn't have anything else to do. I was stuck in a hotel room. Luckily, the hotel had a free shuttle that went from the hotel to the airport. So I hopped the shuttle, got off the airport, went downstairs, jumped on the subway, went into the city. And that was how I was helping keep my brain from just going absolutely stir crazy sitting in a hotel room. So at that point, I could have just been like total freak out and said, you know what, screw this. And I could have left the company and tried to go somewhere else. And, could have been worse, could have been better. I don't know. I've only worked for 2 companies, so I can't make determinations industry-wide. I can only go by the information I see online, and we all know nowadays we can't trust anything that we see online. Everybody's got this agenda or a point of view that they're trying to push that may or may not be accurate or truth. So it's very difficult to filter through the news and compare that to what you've personally experienced. That being said, I think I'm gonna play it by ear and stay where I'm at the moment. Another factor that plays into this is I'm close to what I'm asking for and what I'm wanting. If things don't get better over the near future and my money doesn't get exactly where I want it or better, then I may try to stay within the company and change my driver manager and maybe get one that is a little more focused on getting the miles I want. I have noticed with GP Transco that there is some turnover, which I do know trucking as an industry has a very high turnover rate. Probably only second to security. I know security has an incredible turnover. And there's tons of companies out here to go drive for. Another one of the little factors that kind of makes me think about staying where I'm at for the moment. One of the companies I was looking at to possibly go drive for, it was US Express, which I recently just saw a story that they're being purchased by Knight Swift. So there's another company that's basically sold out, being bought up, gobbled up by one of the major carriers. Well, actually, Knight Swift, I think, if I'm not wrong, they are the biggest carrier in the United States, period. I know them and possibly JB Hunt are way up there at the top of the food chain. But with acquiring US Express, I'm pretty sure Knight Swift, if they weren't already number one, they are going to be the number one largest carrier. And it's a double-edged sword when it comes down to that. And I know this video is pretty much talking all about trucking, but trucking is my path to my retirement. So, these things are important and they affect me directly and they affect my money directly. So, it's a double-edged sword with the mega carriers versus the smaller carriers. GP Transco is not a very big carrier. I think they got like 650 trucks. Some of those are lease purchase and owner ops or whatever. They're not all company drivers. Versus CRST, which they had over 4,000 trucks. So, and they weren't, top. I don't think CRST is even top 10. I think they're top 15, but not even in the top 10 yet of carriers. The difference is, between the two of them, the mega carriers get bigger and better contracts, so they're dealing with bigger and better customers that have better facilities and more shipping lanes and routes and more opportunities, more loads. Smaller carriers get the leftovers. The companies that are not wanting to pay as much, they're not wanting to sign on with a mega carrier. So you get the smaller customers with smaller facilities, and some of them are mom and pop, and they're just not fun for us drivers because their facilities, they don't have the money to build a nice big fancy distribution center. So you get some wonky stuff sometimes with these smaller carriers. And the difference in the drop and hook loads versus your live loads, which affect our drivers' clocks, huge. I mean, just massively. When you're constantly having to go and sit an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to unload or load, that cuts into how many hours and how many miles I can get driving that day. So it literally takes money out of my pocket. And of course, the company, and this is from my experience, it's the two companies I worked for were the same. The amount of money they pay you for downtime or for waiting and detention and all this is just ridiculous. It's stupidly small. It's not worth much at all. I mean, granted, you're happy to get it because you need to be paid something, but what they pay you for sitting is ridiculously low. And you're already being paid low. You know, one of the things that people don't understand, truck drivers are being paid very low right now. A load may pay $8,000. That driver gets paid for the miles. So if it's, I don't know, let's just keep the math simple, say 1,000 miles, driver might get paid $600. So that 7,400 goes back to the company. You get 600. That's why your owner operators and your lease purchase guys, they want to get into the game and start getting that bigger chunk of money, because what happens there is sometimes, depending on what their agreement is, the company gets a small percentage. The owner op lease purchase guy gets the majority of that. But then they have to pay for all their own fuel, they have to pay for all their own overhead as their business, they have to pay all their own tax as a business. You know, their overhead chews up that money. Ultimately, from my understanding, is the owner operators lease purchase guys make more, but they also have to carry a lot more of the burden, and they pay out a lot more money in overhead. That's something I'm not that interested in. Even though I'd be making more, I'm not really interested in trying to run my own business. I didn't get into this game to start my own company and start trying to run my own business. You know, I got into this game as a job only. You know, company driver, get paid for my work, take that money and build my future with it. Not looking to be an entrepreneur, start my own company, you know, grow and try to add trucks and so forth. And there are people that do that, and they do fairly well. But it is quite a bit. And there's quite a bit of hassle and headaches to the whole trucking industry. So then all of a sudden, you're the big company, and you got to pay for everything, and you got to take care of everything. You got to pay your drivers, and it's complicated. It's hard. It's the majority of people that go that route. They're saying that over 50% of the lease purchase owner ops that get out there fail within the first 6 to 8 months. So it's not a foolproof plan. And it doesn't mean you're going to make it. It doesn't mean you're going to survive. And I've seen a number of drivers coming in new to a company that used to be lease purchase owner operator. And they can't make it. So they take a driver job and do what I do, which is just work straight for the company. Doesn't happen every day that you see that, you know, but I personally have seen it a number of times already in my 3 years. So wrapping all of that up, you know, the financial end, I'm still doing okay. Not exactly where I want to be, but my target might be a little bit high. I still want to try to push for that. I think I can get it eventually. I'm going to kind of play it by ear for where I'm at right now. Give it some time, see how things work. If it doesn't improve and get me to where I need it to be, then I might look elsewhere. But for right now, it's close enough that I'm not pushed to change jobs. And if I feel like I need to change, I might have to start doing some more research again, because one of the companies I was considering was US Express, and they're no longer going to be around. So it's going to be umbrellaed or bought out by Knight Swift, which was not one of the companies I was looking to drive for. So, all right, now as far as overseas, I find myself still being more torn over my destination. Cambodia looks really good. As I've mentioned, in almost every video, Cambodia is still kind of like the number one spot for me. I really like the location. The capital city there, Phnom Penh, really looks good. It is a hub of international business, so there are a large number of English speakers. It warrants, it deserves to be right up at the top of the list. But I also still find myself considering the Philippines. I am familiar with the Filipino people. I've been in the Philippines. I spent 3 years there. Yeah, it was a long time ago, but I still kind of know the Filipino people. I know I really enjoyed myself when I was there. I really like the people. And I like some of the areas over there. I know the infrastructure probably isn't as good. I know there's going to be problems and issues with that. But I'm really considering, especially the Cebu area, more and more. So it's still in the ballpark. It's still in the running. It's absolutely number 2 now. And I do like the Cebu area. And I think I could probably find a place there in Cebu that would be good for me. Now, the downside for that is I'm hearing that the Philippines in price is going up because they're becoming more and more popular with people wanting to become expats, and more people are choosing the Philippines. I'm hearing that prices are going up. So the rent prices and all of that are increasing, making it not as affordable as it was, lessening the value. And that was one thing that the Philippines has always had over the other areas within Asia, was the cost of living was so cheap. But when they start jacking up the prices, now it kind of makes it a moot point, because they're similar to the other regions, other areas within the region, price-wise. So it kind of takes away from one of the main points of going there. So I'm still going to, and I still got 7 years before I actually move on anything. So, everything can change in 7 years. But right now, the way things are looking, they're not doing themselves any favors by jacking up the rents and the prices over there. They're actually causing people to look elsewhere. And I understand they're trying to capitalize on the popularity and and a lot of the media, the attention that they're getting through social media. And they want to profit off of it. And that's normal. It's to be expected. But they don't realize that they're actually hurting themselves by doing that, because they're giving cause for expats to look elsewhere instead of being full on decided to go there. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I think that's about it. I woke up this morning. When I parked last night, I'm here in Rapid City, South Dakota. When I parked last night, it was chilly, but South Dakota, well, not unexpected. But then I woke up this morning, like, turn you around here and see if I can get a view. And I woke up, a little bit of snow on the ground that was unexpected. And I got a call from my dispatcher. I was supposed to be making a very early morning delivery, but that got put on pause. We're going to target at the later end of my delivery window because my next load that I'm picking up here in South Dakota in Rapid City isn't ready yet. So we're going to try to stretch it out for this delivery so that I don't start my clocks. And I'll have ample time to go get my load and get on down the road a little ways. So kind of disrupted my plan and my schedule for the day. I would actually already have been unloaded and heading towards my pickup by now. Instead, I'm sitting here drinking coffee and making YouTube videos. Wasting time. Well, all right, let me wrap this up, guys. As always, if you know anybody who's interested in this kind of content, please share it to them. You know, if you like the video, hit the like button. You know, if you want to follow along, hit the subscribe button. And I do appreciate you being here. And for all you new subscribers, you know, I really appreciate you guys, you know, jumping on board. And until the next video, you guys take care, be good, and we'll see you in the next one.